Just because it scares somebody else, then it scares you. That's the nail in the coffin. He doesn't understand AI pretty much at all. All right, this should be interesting. We're going to react to Warren Buffett talking about the rich winning, which I guess shouldn't come as a surprise, but let's see how this goes.
Who's winning in this economy right now?
The rich. Guys like me. You know, we have gone from having 93 billion, top 400 in 1982 to having 2.4 trillion, 25 for 1.
Okay, so right off the top, just how easy he answered that. That's like he wasn't even fazed by that. Like the rich win. Yeah, of course. You need money to make money. If you're wealthy and you know how to save your money and keep your money, it's reasonable to assume that you're going to be able to grow that. This is why finance and learning finance is so important. That was mildly amusing on how quickly he answered that. Let's roll the rest of it.
People who it becomes a more and more specialized market economy. It was an agrarian economy a couple of hundred years ago. Very hard, you know, to get 20 times the wealth of the next guy because you were a little bit better farmer. But if you're better at some skills now, you can become incredibly wealthy at a very young age, not because you earned the money to build one steel mill and then saved it to buy another steel mill. So you get the capitalized value of an idea. And so the wealth.
And this makes a lot of sense too, right? In the old days, there were only so many things that you could do. You really had to like build on top of that. Now there's a whole bunch of different avenues and the ramp rate is much faster. And he's recognizing that if you deploy your capital right and you play your cards right, you're able to take advantage of that. I think this is one of the reasons why technology is so interesting to some people, just because they realize how much it actually affects everybody's daily life and how deep its tentacles go and how many different things it touches. There's a ton of money that can be made there.
Wealth moves big time, even on an anticipatory basis. And that has become more accentuated in the last 30 years.
I mean, I'm in agreement with him here. I mean, to me, it seems like this was an obvious answer for him. Like, invest in all the specialized things, grow your wealth. Seems easier now. So this one should be interesting. In this video, we're going to react to Warren Buffett on AI. So I can't wait to see what a very experienced gentleman thinks about AI, generally a fairly conservative investor. This should be interesting. Let's roll it.
I don't really understand it. I think it's an incredible technological advance in terms of showing what we can do, but
Okay, so just from the initial knee-jerk reaction answer here, it's very clear he doesn't understand it, which is okay. You don't have to understand everything, I suppose, but he does kind of seem like he's walking a line here. I think it's very, very clear that he doesn't understand it. Let's see what else he has to say.
I don't know whether we know what happens, and I was listening.
Okay, well, let me stop right there. Yeah, we know what happens sometimes. I guess he's looking all the way to the end of the line here, so we don't know what this is going to lead to. I mean, fortune favors the brave, am I right? Sometimes you got to take some risk, some constrained risk, but some risk. In addition to ignorance, and I don't mean that as an insult, he just doesn't understand it, but I think that blended with some conservative investing habits are probably leading to this answer.
Who was it the other day who knows a lot about technology? He just says it, it scares him. Well, if it scares him, it scares me in terms.
Okay, well, right there. So just because it scares somebody else, then it scares you. That's the nail in the coffin. He doesn't understand AI pretty much at all. I think that if you are gonna share somebody else's opinion, I think it behooves you then to understand what led to formulating that opinion. Maybe I'm overthinking this. Let's see how he finishes this off.
The possibilities of, I mean, we've done amazing things, like we figured out how to create an atom bomb back in 1945. I didn't know what an atom was or anything, but Einstein told me it was going to change the world.
Okay, comparing AI to an atom bomb, we'll see how that ages, I suppose. And again, the atom there doesn't know what an atom is. Puzzling. Not really sure where he's going with this. Let's see.
Change the world. So I don't want to change the world too many times without having some idea of the consequences of it. And I think this is extraordinary, but I don't know whether it's beneficial.
Okay,
I don't really understand.
So definitely walking the line here, right? Definitely trying to walk both sides of the fence here. I don't think you're ever going to know when you have something that's really big and groundbreaking and is going to change things. I don't think you're ever really going to know all of the consequences. I don't think he knew all of the things that were going to play out in some of the companies that he invested in or some of the decisions that he made. Again, fortune favors the brave. Sometimes you just need to go through with those things. Again, having constraints is one thing. I think you can replace AI here with Bitcoin. I don't think he sees a lot of complete paths with either of those things. And while he's talking about AI here, realistically, I think you can sub Bitcoin in for this just the same. Okay, so here we're going to be reacting to Warren Buffett on when to hold cash. Now, before I even watch this, just right off the top here, leads Berkshire Hathaway, which has the biggest cash hoard I think I've ever seen. So his comments here will be interesting. Let's see what he has to say.
If your house is paid off, if you don't have big living expenses, you got a portfolio of decent diversified businesses, you don't really need any cash.
Okay. You don't need any cash. I will respectfully disagree with him. I think he makes really good points about having things paid off and having diversified portfolio of businesses. That's all well and good. But you should always have some cash around, right? I mean, the way I think, who out there on the internet doesn't want to have some cash sitting around? You don't need it. I mean, maybe you don't need it if you have all those things taken care of, but you want it. It's cash. Cash is king.
If you're working in something where you're living off your paycheck from week to week, you want to have a little cash around, and you certainly don't want to have a credit card that's maxed out or anything.
Okay, so you definitely don't ever want to have maxed out credit cards. That I wish more people got through financial literacy. Definitely don't have maxed credit cards out. And yeah, if you are living paycheck to paycheck, I may think you need to have a reserve in case of emergency, right? I mean, even if you think about if you are diversified and you have a portfolio and you're living and you have like investments, let's say you have a bunch of SPY, right? And you don't keep a lot of cash around. You run into an emergency, some fix around the house, car repair or something like that. You need to come up with some cash. Well, one of the things you can do, sell some upside calls against your SPY stock. So sell some covered upside calls. Get the cash. There you go. Now you have emergency funds, and you might not have to pay that back. If it does get paid back, your assets that you already have in storage, if you will, get called away at a gain, hopefully. You can rebuy when the market shows weakness. So some good stuff here. Again, though, I think no matter what, it's always nice to have some cash around, right? It seems like it is a good idea to me.
Anything like that. If you're
okay, and that was it. So.